Actually, it's funny you mentioned TV because the world of commercial directing, I'm fascinated by, and I'm surprised no one's done a documentary about commercial directors because there is an entire world of directors out there. Joe Pitka, for instance, who are enormous in like wealthy, very famous within their industry, who people have never heard about,
Yeah,
and they get paid
but they're legends
extremely
within
well.
their yeah, they're legends within their own industry, right?
Yeah,
And the
Joe
best
Pitka had a private
directors,
plane for God's sakes. So
the best directors are wonderful to work with, and they bring something more than you imagined to the table to turn the spot into something lovely or something you couldn't to take it from a 7 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10 or whatever. The best are really wonderful, and it is a craft. And a lot of sometimes art directors make that. Usually, it's art directors that would become directors, and you should talk to an art director, creative director about that, and or a director about that.
oh yeah,
I've been
after this
lucky.
podcast, I have a friend of mine
But
who was a
you got another
director.
one, yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect. Because that world is, and it's they're great, and it's tough, and the treatments that they have to put together to win a job are time consuming. And I know that some of them have staff that help them with that. Um, but a great director can make a huge difference. A pedestrian director can really leave a spot that might have been something great as ordinary, which is sad when that happens.
yeah, that's true. I've also noticed in I think it's the '90s or O's, the aughts, directors started using nicknames, sort of like rappers. Did you notice that? How directors started, they would go by Style War or Tractor or thing. They would invent names and personas for themselves, like pro wrestlers, I
There were a
guess.
few. There were a few, and I remember working one very early in my career. I can't even remember who it was, but
Yeah.
he flew in from LA, and was, he had a cape. He was like right
He
on
had
the
a
set of
cape?
casting.
Really?
He had a cape, and people would have to approach him. You couldn't really approach him to talk to him. You had to talk to somebody else or you talk to him. It was just ridiculous. I mean,
My God.
it was just completely silly and ridiculous. And they're much more approachable now, and they're human beings, and so that sort of stuff has gone away, I think, for the most part.
I hope
But
so.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's funny because Jerry Bruckheimer, who is the biggest producer in Hollywood, I took a look at his career, and his career as a he was an ad guy to start out with. Actually, he was an advertising guy, and his first hit was Flashdance in the '80s. He had made some films before that, but Flashdance he used a commercial director, Adrian Lyne, and it did very well. And then if you look at his filmography, ever since then he has only used commercial directors.
That's interesting.
Isn't that incredible? And Hollywood is a copycat league. No one copied him. No one realized it. No one was like, this guy's using commercial directors. He's the most successful guy out there. So,
Well, I mean, we just did a spot where we used a director who specialized in music video, and we used him for a spot,
oh,
right?
there you
Because
go.
he was able to, get a lot done in one day, and had a really good eye and sense for the job, right? So you got to pull people from different specialties.
Oh, absolutely. Commercial directors usually have a specialty, either comedy or drama or something. That's how it usually goes.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. There are comedic directors and there are dramatic directors. There are directors who specialize in landscape stuff and portraiture and so on and so forth.
Oh, you were recently on a shoot with involving lions. Was the director a lion director?
There was a wrangler,
Okay.
and Eric Almas was the photographer, very very talented guy based out in California, and yeah, we were shooting lions and tigers and leopards out in the Simi Valley.
Everything that can kill you, you were shooting,
Anything could kill you. Well,
basically.
I was maybe
Bears.
10 feet away from all of those bears, and I said to the account people, I said, I just have to be faster than one of you if something goes wrong. And I was pretty confident I was.
Just kick him in the
So
shins and take him.
just have to be faster than one. But that was great, and that was really interesting. And that's part of the business that is the fun part, right? Is going to different places.
Some might say the funnest part is going on shoots. That
Yeah,
might
and
be.
it can be very tiring, and obviously, more work for the art director generally than the writer,
Oh yeah.
obviously, and but those are the things. The fun part of the business certainly is going to different places and shooting stuff and seeing places you wouldn't otherwise have seen, meeting people you wouldn't otherwise have met, and that's a part of the business I hope never goes away.
Yeah, I hope so too. That's a fun thing to do. Going on shoots.